Hey everybody, welcome back to Cooking with Greg. It is Sunday. Happy Sunday. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Thanks for joining me. As I posted on my Instagram, on my Insta story, we are making turkey burgers today. These turkey burgers are going to be coming with an avocado aioli and a red onion jam. Okay, so we're going to bounce around a lot today. Okay, we're going to bounce from product to product, getting it all ready. We're going to start by making our turkey burgers. Okay, so we're going to get them nice and seasoned, and then we're going to let them rest a little bit in the fridge before we cook them, okay? First things first, I like to use a pair of gloves. Keeps my hands clean, a little bit cleaner. Also makes it a little bit easier to work with meat so that you don't overwork it, get it really warm and things like that. But we have about a pound, 16 ounces of 93% lean, 7% fat turkey right here. It's organic that I got. We have one egg here. We're going to use one egg. I've already kind of whisked it up. You'll notice tonight that I've already prepped most of these items, okay? So a lot of things are already cut and diced and so on and so forth. So I'm going to throw that egg on top. That egg is going to act as a binder for me, okay? We have some diced sweet onion here, Hawaiian or Vidalia onion here. I used about a half of a medium-sized onion, so we're going to throw that guy on top too. You'll see that you'll buying these, it'll add some nice sweetness to the turkey as well. Then we have some Worcester sauce or Worcestershire. I don't know how you guys are pronouncing it today. Always a fun one if you ever watch any of those Food Network shows. Those are always there. I'm going to use about a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire. Get that in there. And then I'm going to add a little bit of soy sauce to this. So we're going to add about a tablespoon of soy sauce here. You'll notice this will make it a little bit wet. That's okay. It'll get a little time to dry. It also help keep everything nice and moist. So when I say just about a tablespoon, we're going to go slightly under, okay? Throw that in there. This adds some nice salt to it as well. So we're going to season the outside of the burgers when we get them going. But in the meantime, we're going to take this and then we're going to add some garlic powder, okay? So be generous with your garlic powder. You can do about a tablespoon or maybe even a little bit more. So this isn't coming out too well, so we'll open it a little bit. And I like to put it around the edges and not just all on the meat. Can't have it too much garlic, right? Some people prefer to use fresh garlic, and then I'm going to mix this all together, okay? Some people prefer fresh garlic. I like garlic powder better in my burgers. I think the seasoning, it absorbs it better for you. It doesn't cook in as well. I don't like the way it cooks in my burgers. You're more than welcome to use that fresh garlic, though. That always works for you. So you're going to mix it up nice and good. This meat is nice and cold. I just took it out of the fridge about 5 minutes ago, right before we got going here. So, all right. You're going to incorporate all of that right here. Okay, and like I said, it's going to be a little bit wet. That egg makes it a little bit wet. That egg acts as a binder. You certainly do not need it. You can also use, I like to use Dijon mustard sometimes, things like that. So, all right, so these burgers we're ready to form them into patties. I'm going to turn my water on over here because it actually will help me form those patties. I have a plate next to me so that I can get them formed and put on the plate so we can get them thrown into that fridge, okay? So we're going to slide this on over right here. So that 16 ounces worth of meat is going to make about 4 burgers, depending on what size you want, okay? So I'm going to roll it into a ball, and then I'm going to flatten it out a little bit. See, like that? Nice and flat. Not completely flat, but remember, these are home burgers, right? If you want to use a, ring mold for that perfect shape, you can always do that. I like to form them by hand here. Just make sure your hands are a little wet. Shake them out before you use it, because it'll help preventing from sticking to your hands or sticking to those gloves, okay? Put them each in its own little quadrant here on the plate. And like I said, you can make these burgers smaller, bigger, depending on what you're looking for. Okay, so I'll roll it first, then we're going to pat it down. You'll see they are nice and moist here, okay? And that's fine. I like to shape them up a little bit more. And then once they sit in the fridge for a little bit, they'll dry out just a touch. And then once we get them going on, We're going to use a cast iron tonight. We're going to cook them on the stove. You can always go, obviously, to your barbecue, and you can grill them as well. So there we go, gang. Let me just get this off my hands. Put that in there, and then we're going to peel these gloves off. So just like that, those turkey burgers are already ready to go. Okay, see right here? You have patties already made. I'm not going to add any salt and pepper yet. That'll go on right before we head to get them on the heat to start cooking, okay? So I'm going to wrap these bad boys up. Once we're done wrapping them up, we're going to move on, and we're going to make our aioli, okay? We'll come back to these burgers probably in about 20, 25, maybe 30 minutes at the most. We got a lot to do tonight, right? We're making 3 items for this burger. I'm not making the buns. I know you're probably like, why don't you make the bread? Not enough time for that. So I'm going to throw these in the fridge. Hang on for me for 1 second. All right, so those are in the fridge. I'm just going to quickly wash my hands. Anytime you change gloves, take gloves off, you should always wash your hands. So I'm going to make sure I wash my hands. My workspace is already clean because I already had everything ready to rock and roll. So next we're going to turn to the avocado aioli. Avocado is a great fat. Yes, this is going to be relatively fatty, but those onions that we're going to make, that red onion jam is really going to add, take off that bite of that fatness a little bit, okay? And you can always add a little acid on the burger at the end if you want to. I have a food processor here. I have about 1.5 avocados that I've already cut up, so I'm going to dump those guys in. Okay, we're going to get them in, okay? Don't forget the last little guy there. We're going to leave that because we're going to want that anyways. I have diced jalapeno, okay? Minced almost, actually. Want to get minced, so this is about a jalapeno, about 3/4 of a jalapeno, I should say. I'm sorry, 3/4 of a jalapeno. And then I have about 2 little cloves of garlic here that I've already minced up, okay? So first things first. Get that all in there. Don't forget all that garlic. I don't know if you're like me. I love garlic on things. Then we're going to take some mayo. I love Primal Kitchen mayo. It's made with avocado oil. A little bit healthier. It's sugar-free. It's paleo. It's gluten-free. It's keto, depending on what you want. So we're going to use about 2 tablespoons here, okay? About 2 tablespoons. Can always adjust if need be. And then we're going to use a juice of a lime, okay? So I've already cut that lime. I've already washed it. Gonna throw that in there, and then we will eventually use salt and pepper to taste. So, but first things first, we'll get that lime in there. If you desire a little bit more acidity, if you have another lime on hand, you can always grab it. So you have all that stuff mixed in right here. I'm gonna take it on, and I'm just gonna grind it or blend it up so you get that nice smooth mayonnaise consistency. Sounds like it's screaming, right? The avocado's like, no! All right. So let's see what that looks like. Can go a little bit more. I'll grab my spoon. Good to have that spoon nearby because we're going to just scrape down those sides a little bit because I see some little jalapenos trying to escape. Okay, we want to make sure they get nice and blended in. Everything gets nice and blended in here. Good. Notice how I'm keeping my station clean. Really good. Remember we talked about the last 2 times we've been cooking is mise en place and prepping ahead of time. So I've already diced everything up for you, so make it a little bit easier on us. And you'll see some chunks of jalapeno in this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to add a little salt. Let me get a dry paper towel just to dry my hands a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of salt here. Okay. Can add a little bit of pepper as well. I don't want to overdo the pepper. So this is going to be basically our mayo for our bun that I'll show you a little later. Okay, so I'm going to throw this guy back on, blend him up just a little bit more. As I'm doing that, let me just rinse this spoon off for a second. I want to make sure I can taste it. I don't want to taste all like plain mayo. That's kind of gross sometimes, just a scoop of mayo. I know there's probably someone in the world that loves that scoop of mayo, but not for me, not for me. So let's take a look first of all. Look at that. Look how green and vibrant that is. You'll have a little bit of heat from the jalapeno. You'll have some nice acid from that lemon. That's good. Thinking it needs something. Maybe just a little more lemon juice. See, what I told you is that you might realize that you need a little extra here. So I have another lemon rather, another lime. Let me grab a cutting board too. We'll need this anyways later. So I have another lime. Make sure you peel the sticker off and you rinse that lime. Just wash it a little bit. Make sure it's nice and clean. Roll that out. Let me grab my knife that I had already on the side. Cut right down there. Probably about another half a lime will do here. So there we go. And then we're going to mix this one more time. And that should seal the deal, I'm thinking. Get a little bit of heat from that jalapeno. And there we go. Let's see. Let's use the other side of the spoon. That's great. That is great. All right. So I'm going to hold that off to the side. Let me close up this mayo. Remember, I held on to that bowl that had the avocado, right? Because why use extra stuff? Why have to clean more if you don't need to? So I'm going to take this off. Watch the blade. Go right here. Remember, this is all good stuff, so you want to make sure you get it all off the blade. Good. Put that in there. Make sure I rinse it a little bit because then it becomes a pain in the butt to clean. And then I'm going to scrape all this. So here's the deal. This is probably a lot. You could make less. You could use one avocado and basically use a tablespoon of mayonnaise and just kind of adjust the ingredients. This is going to last about a day in the fridge. So remember, if you want to use it for something else, if you're making tacos, you can use it on your tacos. You can use it on maybe tomorrow I'll have a turkey sandwich. You can add that. So someone the other day posted on my Instagram, they wanted to know if I make anything with meat. So that's why we're doing these turkey burgers tonight. Let me just rinse that off real quick. Awesome. All right, so this is good. We're gonna wrap that and put it in the fridge as well, so it stays nice and cold for when we put it on that burger, okay? Otherwise, we'd have everything ready to rock and roll in one time, okay? So, all right. That's going in the fridge. Hope you guys are enjoying yourself so far, having an awesome Sunday. All right, now it's time to turn our attention. Let me throw this back too. See how much easier things are when you have everything prepared? We're only 10 minutes in already. We're crushing it, all right? So, what are we turning our attention to next? I'm gonna keep that knife right there. Keep that lime too if I want it for anything. We're gonna start making our red onion jam, okay? While we're doing that, I'm also going to preheat my oven. This is going to be for the turkey burgers because eventually we're going to sear the turkey burgers on the stove, get that nice brown and crust to them, and then we're going to finish in the oven so they don't burn on the stove. I'm going to set my oven to 375. So while that's preheating, I have one saute pan that I'm going to do for my red onions. So I have about 2 red onions cut here. Beautifully. So they're sliced pretty thin. I don't want them super thick. They'll take a long time to cook if they're super thick. I also have red wine, which will be the first part of this. So we're going to cook these down a little bit. We're going to let the red wine absorb into that red onion, give it a nice robust flavor, and then we're going to make a gastrique. I'll explain that in a little bit. Okay, that gastrique is what's really going to help make that jam or that marmalade, if you will. Okay, salt and pepper nearby. We're going to heat up our stove. We're going to go about medium to high heat right now, okay? So you can use any sort of oil you want, a vegetable oil, avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil. You're going to want something with a little bit higher smoking point for this. So I'm going to use avocado oil today, okay? So I have some avocado oil right here, salt and pepper nearby, and then of course I have my red wine. I got this at the store for like $4, you know, because I didn't want to use one of my good bottles of red wine that I like to drink. So this is a cab. You can use anything. I'd probably use a cab or something like that. Not Pinot. Pinot's too light for this. These red onions really want to suck up all that juice. And then I have the other ingredients that are going to be for the gastrique, which is going to be, a gastrique basically is a nice French term. It's like a sweet and sour sauce, basically. It cooks down. It's some version of sugar. Today we're going to use honey. We're actually going to use some really good honey, some Manuka honey. You can also use sugar if you wanted to. And then on top of that, we're going to use a vinegar. So some people will do red wine vinegar. You can substitute apple cider vinegar. We're going to use balsamic today. I really like the sweetness I get as balsamic starts to reduce down. So my pan is heating. So I'm going to take my avocado oil, about 2 tablespoons or worth. So, because you're going to really want to let these onions cook. There's a lot of them. Okay. The one thing I'm going to beg your forgiveness on is just a little too much there. Beg your forgiveness on is if the my smoke detector is really close to the kitchen. So I'm trying to avoid putting on the fan here, just because I want you to hear the food cooking. I don't want to hear the fan working, right? So we're gonna get this nice and warm, okay? So medium to high heat. We'll start the gas streak next. So I'm gonna just kind of bounce back and forth over here, but and I'll show you what we're doing. So we're gonna start with these onions. Do you remember the trick we talked about the other day about knowing if your pan's hot enough, getting a little water? And you get that sizzle, so that's good. So we're gonna throw these in right now. Beautiful. Awesome. So let me grab some tongs. I want to break this up a little bit. So these onions, you want them to cook down a little bit. So once they're in there, you can break them up a little bit. You see, you're probably going to want to come in closer to this. I just know it. So let me work on getting you guys a little bit closer. I want you to see me as well as see the beautiful food we're making. So we're going to get in a little bit closer. There you go. You can see that, right? See all of those onions right there? So I'm breaking them up, and then I'm going to add some salt and pepper here to help them cook down. That salt really helps to break down those onions, any of the onions you use. So some kosher salt here, we'll throw that on. I need my towel. And then some pepper as well, okay? So we'll mix this up a little bit. Make sure all those onions get seasoned. There you go. So we're going to watch these guys cook down a little bit. And then we're going to add about 3/4 of a cup to a cup of red wine. So I'm going to grab my measuring cup for you guys. And we're going to measure out about 3/4 of a cup. Should we go for the whole cup? What do you think? Tasty drink? A little bit over 3/4 of a cup right there, okay? So these onions will start to sweat and cook. See that? They break up real nice. Look how vibrant. I love red onions. They should be called purple onions because they look a little more purple than they do red, yeah? All right, so let's just have you guys come back there. So making sure you're mixing that up. I want to see a lot of that oil kind of get absorbed so that you know that the seasoning is sticking to it. Smells beautiful. So after we put the red wine in, we're going to start working on that gastrique, okay? So that French term, right? Gastrique. You can just call it a sugary sauce if you want, a sweetened sauce, a reduced sauce, a reduction if you will. Awesome. Just make sure you're watching your heat. You don't want anything to burn, but you do want those onions to start cooking down. They're going to take up that liquid, right? They're going to absorb liquid. They're going to get, their vibrancy is going to change, obviously, once the red wine comes in, and then once we add the gastrique on top of that. Okay, so looking real good here. Beautiful. So my oven's preheating to get my turkey burgers ready. So after we have this and the turkey burgers get going, we're getting close to the end. Look how fast that was. I had everything mise en place. My mise en place today, slicing the onions, dicing the other onions, the garlic, the jalapeno, cutting limes, and getting my turkey out. I mean, it took me maybe 15 to 20 minutes to get everything ready for you guys. Look at that. So we'll give it just a little bit longer, and then we're going to dump that red wine in. Okay, this is going to take, I don't know, somewhere in the ballpark of about 5 to 10 minutes, depending. If you use less onions, obviously. Remember, the thicker you make the onion, the harder this is going to be, or the longer it's going to take. That's why you want to have a thinner strip, maybe 1/8 of an inch, somewhere in that ballpark. So, beautiful. Good. I wish my kitchen were a little bit bigger. I wish I had one of those Viking six burner stoves, or even an 8 like a restaurant. If anyone has a kitchen for me, let me know. I'll come on over. We'll do this at your house next time, okay? Remember, if there's things you guys want to see, let me know. If you're enjoying this, I love doing this. The last few times we've done it's been great. Sunday supper, if you will. Look at that. See that? Beautiful. They smell good too. They'll get a little bit sweeter. I like using red onions for these jams instead of a white onion just because of the texture and the flavor of the red onion is slightly different than those white onions. And the red onion tends to absorb the other liquid really well in this process. I like to caramelize white onions when I'm having breakfast, or if I want just a normal caramelized onion on my my hamburger, I'll use a white or yellow onion or sweet onion versus a red onion. So those are cooking down. We'll give it a few more minutes here. And then let me start to talk to you about the gastrique, right? So any kind of honey will do. This is what I found in my house that I have. Manuka honey is really, really good. It's from Australia, New Zealand. And then I have just some regular aceto balsamico. So like I said, you can use apple cider vinegar. Remember, vinegar in general has really good digestive properties. Gastriques, it's been said that they were made back in the day many years ago is because they were really good for digestion. So we're going to help our digestion out a little bit with these onions, okay? Just make sure that you're watching your onions so they don't burn because you have that heat on. Oh, yeah. So we're going to give it, I don't know, let's give it about another minute or two. The other thing is once you have this done, that red onion jam can last about 2 days in the fridge. Whatever you want. You can use it hot, you can use it cold, you can put it on a salad. We're going to have 4 burgers done here. Your burgers can be different sizes. You can make minis. I almost bought mini rolls today. I thought about it. But instead I've gotten us some brioche buns. You can kind of make them out over there that I'll toast up a little bit later. So here's how it's going to work. We're going to do lettuce, tomato. We're going to have our burger. We're going to add our aioli. And then we're going to finish with the red onion jam. You can always, if you need another little bit of flavor or texture, if you want to add a little spice, you can add some sriracha to your aioli if you want. It all depends what you're interested in. So look at how that's already cooked down, right? Before they were, midway up the pan here, and these guys have cooked down. So about another 30 seconds, and I'm going to add that red wine in for you guys. And then we're going to start to move on, okay? The gastrique will be next, and then once that's done, I'm going to get my cast iron, which is over there. If you guys can see this beautiful, beautiful cast iron pan that we're going to do our burgers in before we toss them in the oven. Another thing you might want with you is a thermometer. Cooking turkey or chicken burgers, you want to make sure they get to about 165 degrees on the inside. That way you know they're cooked, avoiding anything like that salmonella and things like that. That means my oven has reached its temperature of 375. Obviously, if you're a beef fan, you are more than welcome to do this with beef. The onions will be just as good, but remember, beef tends to have more fat to it, so be mindful of what kind of aioli you're making. If you're adding avocado, which is even more fat, it's fat on top of fat and fat and fat and fat and fat and fat, right? Still will taste delicious, though. Not saying it's not. So I'm going to go ahead now. I'm going to add my red wine. And we're going to let that cook down, okay? I'm just going out of the picture because I'm putting this in my sink. So, that red wine, and we're going to let the onions absorb all that liquid, okay? We're going to let it cook into all that liquid. I'm going to cover these up for a second. All right. Now, while that's going, we're going to start on our gastrique, okay? So, what we're going to do is we're going to take honey. Let's first get our pan warm. So, remember, this already has sugar. We're going to let this color kind of cook in a little bit, get it richer, and it's going to get more of that a nutty sweet flavor to it. We're going to use about, 2 tablespoons or so. Basically what you want to consider when you're making a gastrique is equal parts of both. So if you're using half a cup of honey, you want to use about half a cup of vinegar, depending on what that is. Obviously you can adjust your taste from there. So I'm going to let that heat up a little bit. We're going to go about medium heat on that. Watch these onions as they cook and take on that liquid. You can stir it around a little bit. These are going to be so good on the top of this burger. I can just already sense it. Tried to do this earlier tonight in case you're cooking along with me. If you need recipes, obviously I can send these in advance, or maybe what we'll do is we'll work on that for next time. is we'll get it going in advance. So as my pan's heating, I'm gonna take my Manuka honey over here, dump this in. So first things first is we're gonna do the honey. Obviously, please don't put your hand in the pan while you're trying to get the honey out, because that will burn. All right, so my honey is now in the pan. Remember, you can use sugar. People do use sugar in their recipes. Just gotta rinse my finger off here. Get that honey off that spoon. Just call me honey. Hey, honey. Anyways, so that's cooking. You're gonna see it start to bubble. You wanna see that bubbling happening? Let me see if I can get you in closer over here, okay? Let's turn it around. I don't want you to see my sink. It looks kind of gross right now, so let's take you over here. Got a lot going on in this kitchen tonight, huh? So there you go. Put that down. I'll clean that in a little bit. So, see that bubbling? That's what you want to see. Watch your heat, right? Make sure you're also keeping your eyes on your onions. You're going to mix them around a little bit. They're cooking down nicely. Beautiful. See that? It's getting nice and nutty. Oh, smelling good. I'm gonna reduce my heat a little bit. You don't want to go too crazy with the heat. And then from there, grab another spoon here. So we're gonna so we're gonna let this cook down, right? I want to reduce my heat here. I don't want it to burn, so it's gonna go down to like a low heat, almost a simmer. Mix it around just a little bit. And you're gonna see this reduce. You wanna get it nice and thick as these onions continue to cook down over here in this red wine. So what's gonna happen now is these are gonna cook. I'm gonna reduce the heat a little bit here so it starts to absorb a little bit better. This is gonna continue to reduce down. After that, I'm gonna dump the sweetened gastrique on top of our onions. Let it continue to cook on low heat while we start to get our burgers ready to rock and roll, okay? Burgers are gonna take about 10 to 15 minutes to cook through, and then we'll start plating everything else up, okay? I know what you're looking at across on my counter here, my disinfectant wipes. They're impossible to find right now, right? Because of the coronavirus. I don't think they're making them anywhere. Luckily, I found some in my bathroom the other day that we didn't think we had, but they've been sitting there probably for about 6 months. So I was like, score, 75 wipes, which is really great. This way I can wipe down my counters after I cook certain things. Let me just start to clean up a little bit here. Good. Get this honey. Let me just make sure I get a little, just don't want to have all that. There we go. Throw this back in my cabinet here. This will go back onto my sauce area. And there you go. So let's just make sure this is looking good. You'll start to see it get nice and kind of syrupy and thick, like you would if you reduce balsamic. I love reducing balsamic and adding it to fruit for a nice sweet dessert. You can add it to ice cream too. And look at that. Look how those onions are cooking down, or that absorbing all of that wine we put in. You can see pepper on the bottom of the pan there. That'll all get mixed in together. It's going to be great. So once we're done, I'm going to take this and dump that in, and then we're going to get ready for our turkey burgers, right? So that's what we're going to. So make sure your area stays clean. I kept my cutting board out because I'm going to have to cut some tomatoes for us to put on our burger. That lime is there if you want to hit this with a little bit. Some people like to do lemon or lemon zest on the top. If you want, you can. I probably won't. I like the sweetness. The acid you can maybe hit on the top of the burgers if you want while they're cooking. I'll show you. That's what I'm going to use the lime for. That little spit of it. And you're probably like, well, you only said one lime before for the avocado. So if it tasted what I wanted it to taste like, then I would not have even broken this out. So the lime would be a moot point. But since I have it out, I'm going to hit it just to give a little more acid to my burgers once we get going, okay? So, beautiful. So that's going, and that's reducing. So what are you guys thinking about? You're going to make a turkey burger? Do you want to make regular burgers, beef burgers? The other night, did anyone go ahead and make some tacos? Those homemade tortillas that I made for you guys. I know they were vegetarian. Some people were like, vegetarian, vegan, I don't know. Or the risotto that we made that was also vegan and vegetarian. I know I got some comments about it being vegan. But remember, I gave you those options if you want to change it. If you want to add dairy and Parmesan cheese was good to go there. But this looks great. So if you need any help cooking while you're home at quarantine, let me know. If there's certain recipes or certain things you want to make, some meal prep items that you want to kind of add into your repertoire, let me know. So we're going to let that go a little bit longer. Make sure that's still on that low heat. And then we're going to get ready to get this bad boy, this cast iron that I'm tapping, you can't see, nice and warm. I see some people waving. How you guys doing back over there? Ashleen, welcome. Melody, welcome. Hope everyone's enjoying this. I'll post this up on YouTube. Last week I had some technical difficulties. My entire phone memory was almost completely full because there was something called Other Space that was taking up like 40 gigs of data. I had to completely erase my phone and reset it to its factory settings. Thank God everything was in the cloud, and now I have like 40 open gigs on my phone right now. So if you have any issues with that, let me know. I can help you. The people at Apple were very nice too. If you know anyone at the Food Network that wants to do an in-home thing with a home chef, send them my way. I've been watching a lot of Guy Fieri and Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. He's done some stuff with some of those chefs, watching The Best Thing I Ever Ate, all that good stuff. All right, so this red wine over here is getting absorbed, almost completely gone. And look at those onions. Look how rich. Look at that color. Beautiful. So we're going to keep these cooking. And then this gastrique is almost ready to go too. So let me show you something. You know it gets thicker and thicker because if you put a spoon in here, you'll see how that coats, right? Look at that. And that's nice. That's really nice. So, sorry I turned around. My cat's kind of crawling in the recycling bag that we have over there. Cat wants to be on TV too. All right, so got a few more moments on both of these, and then we're getting ready for the final product or the final piece, which will be that burger. As those burgers are in the oven, I'm going to set ourselves up with the bun, with the garnish, the tomato and lettuce that we're using, and I'll show you how I build my burger. You can build yours any way you want. If you want cheese on it, I'm not putting cheese on mine tonight, but you're more than welcome to. I have some Munster cheese in the fridge, but white cheddar would be really good with this. White cheddar. Yellow cheddar may be a little more overpowering. That white cheddar will really complement the onions, the aioli, everything really well, but remember that's more fat. The tomato will help because the tomato will have some acid, so that'll be really nice too. So, all right, let's give these about 2 to 3 more minutes here, and then we're gonna add this lovely gastrique sauce on top. We're gonna have to make sure we mix it through, and then we're just gonna let it kind of simmer on low heat until we're getting close to plating. You can serve them at room temp. You can serve them hot right off. You can, I don't know if I'd want them cold, but you're more than welcome to if that's something that floats your boat. Doesn't float my boat. I don't even know where my boat is floating to these days. Awesome. It's gonna be a nice dinner. Remember, you can pair this with potatoes if you have an air fryer. You can do some French fries, a salad. I'm just gonna plate the burger tonight. I didn't make any sides. I have some rice in the fridge, but I don't really want to do that. I might throw some cucumbers and tomatoes on the side and just have some nice veggies with it. Look at that. So those onions continue to cook down. Guys, what we're doing here, this is restaurant quality food. So you can be that home cook for you and your family, or just for you. You know, if you want to change things up a little bit. Remember, those of you that want less carbs, you can always do a lettuce bun too. You don't even need a bun. And it'll be just as good, and you'll have these vegetables. Granted, a little sugar. Honey, I think, is a lot better to use than just straight up sugar. If you didn't want to do that, you could just do a balsamic reduction. Or you can try to like mess with the ratio a little bit, do less honey, more balsamic. Either way, it'll sweeten up those natural sugars, or the sugars from both the vinegar and the honey will kind of come together. It'll be very nice. All right, so these guys are almost ready. We'll give it about, I don't know, about 30 seconds more. And then this guy's going on top, and we're just gonna let it cook together. Sound good? You guys with me still? Awesome. Very nice. So if you haven't told your friends, you should get them to come online right now so they can see the finished product getting ready. I'll try to give a little bit more heads up as to times. My weekends have been a little crazy because I've been running and I'm starting to train for another marathon if it still goes on. If it doesn't, I'm still running the marathon. So my training actually starts tomorrow. I have a new 16-week training program I'm starting. So look at these onions. Look at that. You see how they all came together? They cooked down. And now we're going to take this gastrique. Let me turn that heat off. We're going to pour this guy right on top. I'm going to scrape as much of this off as I can right here. All right. And they're in there now. So I'm going to take that. Good. Just for a second. Put this over here. And I'm going to mix this around so that it coats all those onions so that they're not just on that top layer of onions. And you see, it gets sticky. Do you see that? Look at that. Look how sticky. That's great. Beautiful. So we're going to put this on a low heat, okay? And we're just going to let it continue to cook, okay? So there we go. So next thing we need, cast iron pan, okay? We're going to throw this guy on. We're going to heat him up. Once he's on, great. So this has already been seasoned, so it's already got a little bit of oil on it. I'm going to put just a little bit of spray on it just to help, not too much, because remember there's already liquid in those burgers. But a seasoned cast iron, you don't really need to do much to. You could add butter if you want to. I add a little bit of oil. I don't want to add, I'm going to do some avocado spray and let that go. Remember, avocado oil has a higher smoking point. You don't want to use extra virgin olive oil. You start to see tons of smoke right away coming up. And then we're going to let these onions continue to cook down. So as that's happening, I'm going to go in my fridge, friends, and I'm going to find those turkey burgers that we were making before, right? I'm going to try to get you a little bit more space here, okay? Let me get this over here. Just rinse this off a little bit because otherwise it's going to be a pain in the butt to clean. Little dawn action. All right, so we get those turkey burgers out. Here they are, right? Put those in the fridge a little while ago. I'm going to put them over here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm going to take this plastic covering off. They're all going to fit in that pan because of the size that I made them. So that goes there, okay? So I'm going to season the top of these guys with salt and pepper. You'll understand when I put them down. There we go. Remember, you can do north to south, east to west. You just want to make sure you get the entire patty covered with seasoning, okay? There we go. So I'm going to keep that out because we're going to need it. I'm going to get some pepper here. So that few moments these spent in the fridge are really good because it helps them to kind of firm up a little bit. And you'll see they're not all perfect circles because I didn't use a ring mold. I used my hands. So I'm going to grab another glove so that I have these cooking gloves I buy in the supermarket. They're really great. So, and then I'll throw these guys on because it'll help us. And I keep looking at my onions. They're going to get really, really bright purple now because of all that sweetness. I bet you these are going to be awesome. We'll taste them in a little bit, okay? So, let's grab our gloves and put these on. So the oven's already preheated. Now, here's the problem. If you wait and now you start to preheat your oven and then you throw your turkey burgers on that cast iron, they're going to either start to burn or by the time you turn them into the oven, it's going to still need to be heating up. So they won't cook as evenly as you want them to, okay? We'll need a spatula, which I do have over here. So gloves are on. I'm going to add a little bit of that avocado spray. Remember I told you I was going to spray some avocado oil? Okay. Prevent them from completely burning and sticking. So this pan's getting nice and hot. So here's some sizzle. Let's just double check. So this is the one thing where, yeah, if I'm using burgers, I might get more smoke because of the fat, right? These turkey burgers are about, what do we say, 93%. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take them off the plate carefully. Same thing. I'm going to find corner and you'll see that. You can press them down a little bit. So here's the deal, right, friends? Season side down. Season side down. Why? Because otherwise if you do season side up, it's going to start cooking the bottom of your patty, and then it's going to be too late to add seasoning, because what you want to have happen is you want this seasoning to basically get into the meat. This guy's, oh jeez. I think my hand had some seasoning on it, so it got on the top of that patty, but there you go. They're all there. They'll form up nicely, so don't worry about that. Let's take these gloves off. Remember, one inside the other. And what do we have to do after we do that? You got it. We're going to wash our hands, friends. So, tons of dishes now I got to do. Probably the worst part of cooking, right? We all hate doing dishes. Is there anyone out there who likes to do dishes? So I'm going to bring my seasoning over. Okay, we're going to want to season what we just put down, because both sides should be nice and seasoned. We're going to give it about, I don't know, about 3 or 4 minutes on each side. So here's some salt. And these will stick together nicely, don't worry. I told you they were going to be a little bit wet. If you want to, you can eliminate the egg. You could reduce the amount of other liquid that you put in here. You can also let the turkey sit out for a little bit just to dry out a little before you start to work with it. So we're going to throw this stuff back. Everything that we need tonight is now seasoned. I'm going to put some of my other goodies away. I'm going to move this plate out of the way. Rinse that guy off. We'll get ready to clean in a little bit. So I wish I had someone in the studio here cleaning as we were cooking, but unfortunately. So I have a high heat going on my turkey burgers, and you'll see that they'll start to stick. Actually, I want to use this guy. That's better. So I have my spatula. I'm going to get ready to use it. Let me just, that might be a little hot. I'm not going to try to touch him too much, but that's clean, other than lime juice. So you guys getting ready? Getting hungry? This is starting to cook. It'll be easy to flip, don't worry, and then you'll see that nice crust on one side. We'll take a few minutes on the other, and then we'll pop them in the oven for the remainder to finish cooking off, and then we'll get everything else ready to rock and roll. What do you think? Should we taste these? See how they are? Let's do that. So let me grab a little fork here. Grab a little bit of that onion. Right there, you see that? Make sure you don't burn your mouth on it. Oh my God. That is going to be fantastic on top of that burger. That is amazing. Amazing. And they're still cooking down, so it'll get a little sweeter before we add them to the top of that burger. So, burgers will probably have a nice sear on them by now. So remember, you can always do, so here's the fun part. Look at that, boom. You see that? Nice caramelization on top. You're gonna have to be mindful of your spacing. I'm just pressing it down and flatten them out. They almost look like pancakes, because this turkey is so light. I'm gonna show you what this looks like. There you go. There we go. All right, so that right there. Can you see that? Look at those turkey burgers. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful crust on them. That's what you want to see, that nice brown. You don't want any burnt spots on there. This guy is just a little bit, and he just comes off like that. Look at that. So, perfect. So take a look at that. Look at these onions cooking down. Can you smell it right now? Ah, this is great. So remember, we have some great seasoning in the burgers on top. That's salt and pepper. Inside that burger, we have some Worcestershire sauce. The onions, the sweetness of the onions are really going to cook in very nicely here. And then, you know, it's going to just be a flavor explosion when we put this in our mouth with the avocado aioli, with the reduction here of the red onion jam marmalade. whatever you want to call it, red onion deliciousness, whatever you think works for you. So we're going to give this about another minute or so, and then I'm going to pop it in the oven. We're going to let it cook for about, I don't know, about another 5 minutes or so more, and we're going to start to get everything else prepared. So I'm going to take you back over there in one moment, okay? So give me a second. Let me grab the tomato out of the fridge. Unfortunately, I didn't find the biggest tomatoes in the world for tonight, but we'll make do. So remember what I talked about, that lime, right? Here's what I'm going to do. Beautiful. Boom. Done. And that's it. We're going to let that lime, just a little extra sweetness kick in. I'm going to take my my Roboku if you want, even though it's a baby one, my little Cuisinart, what do they call it? A Mini Prep Plus. This guy does some great work for me. You know what you can also do in here is, if you don't want to take the time to mince up garlic, if you have garlic cloves, you can put it in here and just put it on chop. And it'll mince it up nice and good for you. This guy goes over here. This is there. All right, so we're going to get ready. We're going to throw this in the oven now, so let's turn the heat off. Okay, we're going to grab this pan. Remember, this is a cast iron, so it retains a lot of heat, my friends. Okay, that's in there. We're going to let that go. This is still going on low heat. Why don't we take you over there, okay? Let's take you back over here. Woo, hey, welcome to my house. All right, so we're going to throw you back up here. Hopefully you can all see everything. So, let me get a different tomato. I don't like this guy. So I'm going to use about 2 slices of tomato on this. Okay. Tomato, I'm going to rinse them off. I'm going to make sure we dry them. I cut a line before, right? So I'm going to flip my cutting board over. You can use it, it's produce. So no cross-contamination there. I'll rinse my knife off too, but just in case you're into that. So we're going to slice some tomatoes. So here we go. I'm making 1 burger right now. I'm just going to be eating myself right now. So here we go. I got 2 pieces of tomato for here. You can do 3 if you want. I have some lettuce, some little gem lettuce that I've already bought. That's already kind of cut. I'm going to want to, I didn't buy whole butter leaf. I couldn't find it yesterday in the store. So I got this instead as an option. So we're going to use that. Okay, and then we need our bun, right? So let me grab our buns over here. So twist and pull. So I got these nice, there we go. All right, I got these nice brioche buns. Let me get another cutting board just to have. You're probably like, wow, bro, you're going through a lot of stuff. That's the thing about cooking sometimes. You go through a lot of things just to do one item. So here's my brioche bun. Boom. Didn't make these myself. Bread knife here. Beautiful. So could you add butter to this? Sure. Am I going to? No. I already have my avocado aioli, so I don't want to go crazy with that. So I'm going to just toast these up. So I'm going to put these in my toaster back here. Just a light toast. You can obviously do this on a pan. You know, let that wait for a second. Okay. Tie this back up. So remember, you have tons of options here, friends. I don't have a twist tie. I'm going to use a binder clip. But you have many options. I thought about getting a pretzel bun. I couldn't find them. They were sold out today at the store. You can also do a lettuce wrap like we talked about, right? Oh my God, look at, can you see this? Can you smell it? Oh, it's looking good. So I'm gonna give this about another 30 seconds and I'm just gonna take it off the heat after that. And then we're getting ready to rock and roll, right? So I have my tomato cut up. I'm gonna take some lettuce out. I'll put this guy back in the fridge. So I'm gonna get some nice pieces of lettuce here. These guys look good. I'm gonna leave them on my cutting board over here so that that's ready to rock as well. You can have pickles if you want. I don't know how good that'll taste. I'm gonna get my aioli back out of the fridge. It's got a little bit of a chill on it. Actually, we'll leave it in a few more moments. So we're just waiting on those burgers to finish up. Anyone, questions, comments, feel free to DM me if you have any questions about alternatives to the recipe. If you were unsure, if you joined us late and don't know some of the ratios or measurements that I used in the recipe itself, let me know as well, okay? I'm gonna grab another plate over here so that I'm ready to plate this. We're gonna look at this beautifulness once it's done, okay? So when we build it, totally up to you. Let me just throw this on a little bit of a toast right now. How you build it is up to you. I'm gonna show you what I like to do, because if this turkey burgers have a little less fat, so they're not gonna be as, they're not gonna be dripping with juice like a burger would when it comes off the grill or out of a pan or things like that. So I like to put my lettuce on the bottom, because otherwise the bun gets soggy, right? So we're gonna actually put our lettuce on the bottom of that bun. I'm gonna just open this up a little bit. I don't like that little piece right there. This thing too. I'm just cutting off the bottom just so it folds open a little bit more. So we're gonna put that on the bottom. My 2 pieces of tomato on the top there. Let's do another piece. Let's get something a little bit more with those seeds. So the tomato is gonna help with that acidity, right? You can cut your tomatoes as thick or as thin as you want, depending on how you like them. You don't even need to use tomatoes if you don't like them. I know a lot of people that don't like tomatoes. I love tomatoes. You can use Roma tomatoes. These are tomatoes on the vine that I use, that I bought. Roma tomatoes are nice. You can use a beefsteak tomato. You can use an heirloom, which would be gorgeous when they're in season and things like that. So this red onion jam is perfect. This is perfection. So we're gonna turn the heat off. We're good to go there. We have just a few more minutes. I think everything will come together right at the right time here. So we're gonna take that. I'm gonna need another spoon. I'm going through spoons left and right today. So, what are you having for dinner? Are you guys doing turkey burgers, or are you doing something else? Maybe some pasta, Sunday night pasta, family meal, right? Whatever that might be. But this is a great healthy alternative. Turkey burgers are really good. I use some organic turkey meat that I bought at Whole Foods actually, which is really nice. Remember, you want to take those carbs out. You can eliminate the bun altogether. Our bun will be done in about another minute. Those turkey burgers. I have a thermometer here. So I'm breaking it out for you guys. Remember, what's that internal temperature that we're looking for on any kind of poultry? 165. We're not cooking our turkey burgers to medium rare, are we? Or rare? I have a funny story about culinary school. I think I might have mentioned it one time before about how I served raw chicken in my final presentation to my chef instructor. Needless to say, I was PO'd that it happened. It was a whole big thing. Someone put an already fabricated piece of chicken in my drawer, and I grabbed it, and the breasts were already taken off. So, you know, we were timed, so then I had to start fabricating, and I ended up using a drumstick, a thigh, and those take longer because they have the bone in them. So I ended up doing the best I could, and it was still a little raw in the center when I finished. I still passed. Don't worry. This isn't going to be raw. I learned from my mistake. Note to self, it takes a little bit longer. So that was quite some time ago, though, so no worries there. So here's what we're going to do. Bun's getting ready. I'm going to start to build part of this burger. Let me go get our bun, and I'll be right back, okay? Let's wait for that. Beep, 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 beep. There we go. Whew. Bun is hot. Okay. All right, so here's what we got. Let's see if you can see this right there. Nice little toast. I'm gonna grab the aioli now because you'll see what I'm gonna do. We tend to have things slide around on us, especially lettuce and that sort of thing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take I'm gonna use the back of my spoon, okay? I'm gonna grab a little bit of that aioli right there, right? I'll get a little bit more. And I'm gonna put like a nice little dot in the center here. Maybe something over to the outside a little bit. So what's this gonna do? It's gonna actually help that lettuce stick so that it doesn't come up, right? So here we go. Remember, what does this do? This is gonna help keep that bun from getting soggy at the bottom. Boom. Then we can throw our tomato on right there. So I'm basically building this upside down, right? So then we're gonna put our burger on top. We're gonna hit it with that red onion jam at the top, then we're gonna cut through it. You can also add that cheese, right? So we're gonna finish a little bit. We're gonna now take a nice smooth stroke on the top of this bun. So let's do that so it's ready to go. See, boom. And then you can move it around. Just a little bit more. And remember, this is gonna last about a day in the fridge. So make sure you use it with something else. So there you go. Look at that. Perfectly, I'd say buttered bun, but it's not buttered. Perfectly aioli bun. Let's keep that there for right now. Burgers are still cooking away. We're gonna see how they're doing. Let me get a dry towel. Be right back, friends. Boom! It's like magic, same color, right? So here's what we're gonna do. So you could do a few things. Pull that out. Place it on top real quick. I'm just gonna go and touch it. It should be pretty firm because obviously you don't want them to be soft. That means they're not cooked. And then I'm gonna take my thermometer here. I'm gonna kind of go in on an angle here. Be careful because this will start to take some of that juice out. And we're looking for 165 on that thermometer reading. When you end up cutting into it, there should be no pink. Oh, these guys are cooked. So we're gonna let that just rest for a second. I'm gonna turn this oven off. Okay, that was well over 165. So this guy's good to go. Okay, put that there. I'll end up cleaning that in a little bit. Gang, we are almost done. This is gonna be great. Just about an hour. I told you we'd be in and out. So, I'm just gonna hold this guy for a second. You see how that, look at that. And you can see, I can't really show you without burning my hands too much, but same sort of caramelization and color on the bottom of that. Put that guy right on top right there. Look at that, perfect fit. Perfect fit. All right, are you ready for this? I'm gonna take my red onions. How much do you want on the top? That's up to you. Look at this, oh, gorgeous. Freaking gorgeous, guys. All right, so last but not least, I'm gonna put that guy down, press down a little bit. I'm gonna use this knife. I don't want to tear through too much. I can just imagine what this looks like right now. Look at that. Look at that. Can you see the little pieces of onion mixed in too? You got your lettuce, tomato, that red onion jam, and then that aioli. And now we're gonna take a bite, my friends. And I still have some juice running down. This is such a good looking burger. Yeah, nailed it. That is awesome. The sweetness from the onions, with the fattiness of the mayo, the aioli, the crunch of the lettuce, and the acid from the tomato, with that perfect seasoned turkey burger. And look at that, juice, right? I told you, moist. It's not a beef burger, but it doesn't mean just because it's turkey or chicken, it's gotta be dry. Beautiful. That's what we got going on. So there you go, in less than an hour, that turkey burger is ready to go. You can feed your whole family. You got 4. If you have a family of 4, everyone gets a burger in and out of the door. Beautiful. It was about an hour, not even, maybe 45 minutes if you take the talking out, right? So quick meal to make, especially Sunday night dinner. Guys, it's been a lot of fun. It's Cooking with Greg. I hope you guys have good eating. And if you need anything, just holler at me. I'll see y'all next time, okay? Peace out.